Sir, we have some questions. Sir, what led you or drove you to form a startup like Outbox? Sir, I want to add that we have recently seen you in Shark Tank. Can you explain the experiences that you have there? Sir, why do you want a shark to be an investor?
So that person is an investor first and then a shark, and not the other way around. So
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shomodi Banerjee and Obhipriya Ghosh from Team Envisage 2022, your host for today. We welcome you to the grand opening of the E-Summit of Technoman Salt Lake Envisage 2022. We focus on promoting a spirit of entrepreneurship among the students in our college. The students, we aim to prepare and guide the students to help successfully mold their original ideas into viable products, services, yielding profitable startups which will have an impact in lives in near future. E-Talk is the platform where we get to have eminent personalities share their experiences and learning towards the success with us. We will interview them and know more about their lives after they have shared their journey with us. We will ask them questions that you, our audiences, have been curious to know. Today's guest of our evening of E-Talks is an eminent person, an entrepreneur, an organizer, and an inspiration for all of us.
Good afternoon, everybody present here. We would like to extend a special thanks to our guest speaker for the day, Mr. Kaushal Modi. Good afternoon, sir. He is the co-founder and director of Outbox, Surprises and Experiences. A chartered financial analyst by profession, he has acquired bachelor's degree in economics from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. His venture Outbox made a presence in Shark Tank, an Indian Hindi language business reality television show. Mr. Modi, along with his partner, Sukriti Agarwal, made their way to Shark Tank India with their unique idea of curating special surprise events for their clients. The idea not only impressed the sharks, but also the common people who crashed the company's website within 24 hours of the streaming of the show. Sir, we are extremely grateful to have you here on our E-Talks in Technoman Salt Lake.
Sir, we have some questions. Sir, what led you or drove you to form a startup like Outbox?
Hi everyone, good afternoon, everyone present here. So I've been born and brought up in Calcutta from in a typical Marwari family, and as they say with Marwari jokes that irrespective of the first person who has a house there, the first shop will be of a Marwari. So I think that business spirit was always there inside me, in fact all my family members, that we ought to do something of your own. So that was a thought that I had even in college. I used to take part in a lot of B-Plan competitions, organize events, and probably that bug was there that you have to do something of your own. Maybe big, maybe small, I don't know, but just to get that sense of ownership. I in fact got placed from college at Axis Bank, but unfortunately or fortunately I left in 3 days because I understood this is not something that I can do for life, and I always wanted to work at a startup, learn the tricks of the trade, understand how businesses are built. So I remember it was my brother's wedding, and Outbox, when you introduced it by saying it's an experiential company, we did not begin it as an experiential company. We had started as a delivery organization. So there is a trend amongst Marwadi families that once you decide to get married, you need to send invitations to all your relatives, even extended relatives. So that amounted to about 400-500 odd invites that was sent within the city of Calcutta, and I was made responsible to do that. So I used to go with a person and it took me about 7 odd days to go and distribute those invites, hand deliver to each and every relative. And I thought, okay, why do I have to take this pain? Why is there no agency whom you can just outsource it? Courier is a very common thing. Intra-local courier is also a pretty common thing. So I just thought there has to be some agency, because if I am facing this issue, and there are so many weddings which happen in Calcutta all the year round, every family must be facing this issue. So that's when I pitched this idea to my co-founder Sukriti, and I think we just like stumbled upon it. We just started, without thinking much, because we were just, I think, barely out of college, and we were just exploring what to do with our own individual lives. We thought, let's give it a shot. So yes, so that from that one idea, I think we pivoted to doing midnight surprises, and then to having like a basket of surprises. But the initial idea was to do invite delivery. We also tied up with multiple corporates within the city, and we also executed for them. But unfortunately, we had to shut that down because maybe Calcutta was not ready, or we were not building in the right space, or it wasn't the right time for the business to pick up then. So yeah.
That was great to hear it from you, sir. And if we are moving on to the next question, like how you said that you have started from your wedding, a wedding that you attended, so the idea came from there. So the next question, that the idea that you had from the wedding, so you have participated in various business competitions before. What was your experience like? Means if you can share.
I think it was pretty rigorous, because B-Plan competitions are very much like everyday businesses. You have to have a thorough knowledge, thorough understanding of what you're about to make or making, right from market research to estimating cost, finding your profit analysis, making projecting your numbers, etc. So I mean, more than the idea, I think in my experience, whenever I used to participate in such events, the judges used to look how well you know the topic rather than how good the idea is. So I think in my I always say this, that execution is definitely more important than idea. I mean, anybody can get an idea to start a company, but how well you do it, how early you do it, how fast you do it is the driving factor. So this was, I think, what I learned more across those B-Plan competitions, because it was never the best idea that won those competitions. It was always the team which knew everything about it, knew in and out, could answer questions very nicely. They were the ones who actually won those competitions.
I want to add that we have recently seen you in Shark Tank India. Can you explain the experiences that you had there? Right.
Yeah. So Shark Tank India was something that all of us were excited for, because all of us had seen the US version of the show, and you always dreamt of being on the show ever. So there were actually 3 rounds. So first was a basic applications round, I think, which about 70,000 odd companies may have applied, and then we were called for an audition round at Delhi, and we went there, and it was a dummy shark session which was happening, wherein we had to pitch in front of camera and then answer questions, etc. So we were lucky enough to get through that, and then we were called for the final shoot in Mumbai. I think about 200 companies were shortlisted for the final shoot. Out of that, I think only 100 companies were aired on TV. So there are many companies who got funded, who went there, but they were not shown on TV. So again, I would say that we were again lucky enough to be aired on TV. While we were presenting, you were actually pitching in front of your of investors that you actually like, your somewhat your role models, and you have an opportunity on a national platform to really pitch your idea. So it was probably one of the best opportunities any entrepreneur can have in their journey, and we obviously had the same feeling. Having those 60 odd minutes inside a room with them is an experience that is, memorable for life, and I don't think such an experience could happen ever again. So yes, I think the entire thing was intimidating. We were, I don't think either of us were nervous, but then we knew what we are about to say, what our pitch is, what could be the repercussions if something is not said in the manner in which it is supposed to be. But I think overall it was a very good experience. We had tremendous support from the entire Sony team, from fellow members who went and pitched. So I think it was a 3-day affair, and it was very good and close knit. So yes.
So after the episode of Shark Tank, we came to know about you and your startup, and we were really excited that something of that sort is happening in Kolkata. But whenever we all talk about startups, ventures, and other things, like failure is a part of it. So especially I would like to ask that how to tackle that failure, that negativity that comes, and turn that to some positive output.
So I think failure is a very broad term which applies to everything you do in life. I mean, you want X marks in a topic and you get, let's say, X minus 30, 40. You consider that to be a failure. I think same applies to entrepreneurship. I don't think the definition changes. I think these words are very magnified when it comes to the entire social media jargon. Whether you're a successful entrepreneur or a failed entrepreneur, or how you tackle failure. I think it's like anybody who wants to do something, they are unable to do something, they will figure out a way to do it, right? Or they know ki it's not possible for me to do it, so I'll do something else instead of that. I think I read this quote somewhere, or probably I was just scanning through social media and I found this note on Google Maps, and it says that in case if you let's say you are destined to go somewhere, you have to go from point A to B, and there's the shortest route that is shown on maps. For example, you take a wrong turn. Google Maps will never say that you've taken a wrong turn or you've gone in the wrong direction. They will give you an alternate route from, let's say, from point C to point B, but ultimately your destination is B. So no matter where you go, even if you travel 100 kilometers in the wrong direction, your journey will end at point B. So I think to have that knowledge, to have that let's say positiveness inside you that yes, I'll have to finish this journey that I've walked on, is itself a motivation factor for you. Maybe it can take some more time compared to others, but this is how I think at least I deal with failure with respect to any aspect in my life. I mean, be it health related, be it business related, be it anything personal related. So yeah.
Sir, why do you want a shark to be an investor?
So that person is an investor first and then a shark, and not the other way around. So there's no right question, because so for in terms of our business, we are into a couple experiences, couple surprises, and let's say pitching in front of Anupam Mittal, who's the owner of Shadi.com, made complete sense to us, because we could see a direct integration with the brand. Had we not gone on the show, we would still have approached him outside. He would not have received the tag of a shark. But I mean, with whatever we want to do as an organization, whatever investors or sharks seem best for us, we would definitely go to them. So they just happen to be on the show, and all these guys are really big in their field. Let's say, I mean, somebody has built a very nice D2C lifestyle brand, and we are also building a lifestyle brand. So their journey, their experiences will definitely help us to not commit mistakes that they have done. Or so they, more than the money, I think all these guys have proved that they are really good in their fields, and their mentorship or advice is unparalleled. So your journey from 1 to 10 will definitely be faster and better if you work under somebody with that kind of caliber.
So, with reference to the episode that was aired on Shark Tank, I would like to ask that the way Anupam Mittal showed interest because he has a Shaadi.com, and you and Sukriti ma'am were so much convincing to him. So somewhere did you think that if he comes on board, or that would have been a better, or means would that be better for you right now?
Yes, we had our own preferences, and we wanted that integration to be the best. And I mean, as I said earlier, had he not been on the show, we would still have approached him for something. The show just gave us a platform to reach him faster. But yes, I think conversations are going on with him, and that was a very good output of the show and our pitch, that even though we did not raise funds, but then that guidance or that support is still there with respect to him, especially because he showed maximum amount of interest. So yes, I mean, if there's an opportunity wherein if we could integrate faster, we would definitely take that opportunity.
So moving on to the next question, we would like to ask that the hurdles that you have faced while becoming this venture or making this venture from college. So if you can explain that hurdles and how you overcome them.
So I don't know how how I overcame those hurdles. I just know about some bits and pieces of struggles. I think struggle is still there. It's just that the stage or the kind of struggles differ. So I think initially it was more about let's say getting your first customer, because we were operating in a service-based business, and we approached a lot of sweet vendors in the city, because we had began with the invite thing. So it was about getting your first customer and your first vendor. I remember there was a time where we had spent about a month or so in this business, and we did not get any customer, we did not get any vendor. Our objective was to tie up with a cake vendor. I remember this instance very vividly, and we approached all the bakeries in the city, let's say Cookie Jar, Crazy for Chocolates, Monginis, whatever, with the intent that somebody speaks to us and we get some response for about the business idea in general. And even though we met, I don't think we could meet anybody, because probably it was difficult to get hold of the right contact. So I think it was one or about 45 days into the journey, we just thought, nothing's happening, just leave it. But I think next 7 days or so, we again, mustered courage. We again decided, okay, let's have a meeting and then we'll, see what to do with the business. Okay, so it was because we still hadn't had our meeting. There was no data point on which we could base our decision. I mean, we only based our decision earlier कि, meeting नहीं हो रहा है तो फिर छोड़ दो. That is not an approach. I mean, you have to give it 100%, and then you decide whether this is good for you or not. And I think in our first call, the very next day, that gave us a very big push in terms of validation of the idea that we were doing, and we got way more than what we had asked for. For beginners like us, I think the push or the incentives that bakery, I think Crazy for Chocolates was the first one who had signed us, and I'm extremely grateful to the owners to have laid confidence on us to take this journey ahead. So I think one such instance was this. The other instance was when I remember we had a meeting with a very big client of ours, and we hadn't had any customer interactions earlier. We just went with our gut, and you just be yourself. I mean, in the sense, what is the outcome of that meeting? You know what your outcome is. You know what your plan is. You just go and talk. So I think it's more about what you do in a specific situation, how you handle it. Different people have different ways of handling hurdles. So I think I would say it's more about going natural, going by your strengths rather than by your weaknesses. Yeah.
So I have an interesting question. Like, where do you want to see Outbox in this next few years?
So we are building a platform for couples, and based on our last few years data, we've realized that this is the segment that we want to go ahead with, and we want to create a celebration portal for India where people can walk in the sense people can order anything related to a decor service, to booking a proposal or a couple dinner experience or a family experience. So our objective is to be the #1 celebration portal in India, and obviously the immediate goal would be that, and Shark Tank has really helped us in that goal because we have managed to launch operations in more than 10 cities in India so far. So we are doing orders in Goa, Kerala, Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, and I think it's just about scaling these orders that we are getting across these cities and just taking a notch higher day by day.
Sir, all being said, what advice would you like to give to young investors who are watching this, and in terms of their startup, and people who are just going to pitch to an investor, what should they prepare? Is it the idea that they should develop more and more, or it's a prototype that they should work for?
I don't think I'll be the right person to answer this question because I have not raised funds, so my advice would be a little skewed. Rather, I don't want to give any advice. I think I can just share my learnings from my entrepreneurial journey or the mistakes that I committed that may help fellow entrepreneurs decide on this path very accurately. So #1 would be definitely you need to have a problem-solving mindset rather than a mindset with excuses. So you have to find problems in daily situations depending on the line of business you want to be in. Second thing, once you stumble upon a problem, once you have a solution to it, that is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of the story. How well you execute that solution to the problem you've identified is way more important than figuring out any solution to it. Execution over ideation, 100%. Third thing would be to be thorough with your research, thorough with your team members, thorough with what you want to do. I understand people don't know what they want to do, what is your 5-year plan, what is your 3-year plan, but if you're sure about few fundamentals, let's say what space you want to be in, who you want to work with, what you want to work into, and what is your plan forward. I think these are the basic things that any man would, or any individual would look for while assessing a business idea. In the initial days, I think it's more about the team, more about your background, more about the skill set that you bring to the table, or cumulatively what your team brings to the table. So the money is spent on the team, it is not spent on the idea. Yes, idea has to be important, but more weightage is given to the team because your idea can change. Let's say 6 months into the journey, you realize it's not working, so let's hop on to something else. But your team will remain constant. So that is, I think, the most important thing. And I think the other thing is to be a little agile or a little flexible, because startups by definition are supposed to grow exponentially. So you need to have a clear thought process whether you're building a startup or you're building a business. I think there are two different things. I mean, or what your objective is with the company that you're forming. I mean, do you want to make it an investable business or you want to make it a lifestyle business? If you want to make it a lifestyle business, very less chances of you getting invested. And if you're making an investable business, you need to show exponential results. So what entrepreneurial journey you want to walk into is totally your call, depending on what space you are working in, where you see yourself as an individually, as an individual in the next 3 years or 4 years.
So that being said, means the people watching us right now, many of them may be on the verge of starting our startups or doing some kind of a business. There's a hype right now that if we raise funds or if we do startups, we have to raise funds. Somehow we have to raise funds. And the concept of bootstrap, they are missing it somewhere. Means like if I say that if I raise fund, I could do promotions to a bit more extent. I would have cash in hand. I would like you to express and put light on the benefits of bootstrapping.
Okay, so I think again this is an individual call what sort of a business they want to undertake. We've been a bootstrap venture, and there are few days where you thought that had we raised funds, let's say 3 years earlier or X number of years earlier, things would have been different. Then on some days you think, okay, no, this is only going fine, and we don't want that sort of that exponential growth in our organization. So it totally depends on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey and where you want to be. With respect to the advantages, it's just that I think you have total control with respect to your business. I haven't been on the other side to make a fair assessment as to what is better or what is not. But I can just say that with respect to a bootstrap business, you could take your own decisions. Now, whether those decisions are correct or not, you don't know, right? I mean, you can only know once you've acted on those decisions and spent considerable amount of time in it. Let's say, had you had an investor that you were answerable to, maybe in their experience you would not make mistakes as you would while running a bootstrap organization. So having control definitely is an advantage. I think to cut it short is just that whether you want, like, let's say 10% of $1 billion business or 100% of $1 million business, right? So it's about answering that question, what is it that you want? And I think the path will automatically clear, in the sense, if you are running a lifestyle business, I don't think that you need to raise a lot of funds. I think we had started our business with, I think, about 50,000 rupees or so, and we actually managed to turn it, I think, more than 200 times. And I think it's just that it's about what space you are in, whether that space requires money or not. For example, if you want to set up a factory, you cannot set up a factory without capital. You can either loan it, you can either go to an investor to fund it. But if you want to run a service-based business, if you want to, let's say, open a digital marketing agency, you don't need money for that. You can just do it online. Maybe you just need 50,000 rupees to just showcase your skills online, create a premium account somewhere, and then just acquire your first 5 to 10 customers, buy it or not. And other advantages with respect to bootstrap, I don't know. I think this is the only thing that I can think of. Yeah.
Sir, actually I have a question that I'm very eager to know that night before going to Shark Tank India, were you totally confident and sure that you will get a shark on board?
No. Because the mindset or the idea was to not get a shark on board for us. I mean, that was not the game changer for us. I think what we were more focused on was whether our pitch is right, whether we could answer their questions accurately, thoroughly, and getting them on board would have been a byproduct of that effort that we would have taken. We very well knew that it was something that could potentially be aired on national TV, and while we were pitching in front of 5 people over there, we were actually pitching in front of 130 crore Indians, or even beyond that, across the nation, across the world. So we were more inclined in letting the idea out, answering questions, and I think more on those lines rather than getting a shark on board. Because yes, we would have been happier had we had a shark on board, but then that was it's still part of the game, right? You win some, you lose some, but I don't think that was, we were dissatisfied that okay, we did not get funding, but at least the idea reached to millions of people, and we actually used that, and with the help of that platform, we could scale our organization to what we are currently compared to us before the show. So yes.
So it's not just a question, but simple curiosity from my part and the viewers that are watching this, that after the show was being aired in national TV across India, from the other metro cities of India, do the request come that start Outbox in our cities as well? Means those who didn't know, maybe from Bombay and Delhi or other parts.
Absolutely, we got a lot of partnership queries across multiple cities, and that really helped us in building a very wide vendor network. I think post the show we managed to add about 50 or 60 odd vendors on our platform, which has helped us generate more orders and more revenue. So we did get a lot of partnership queries, a lot of vendor queries, and it really helped to it really motivated the entire team, all the team members working there, and it also motivated us as entrepreneurs, because you sometimes in your journey you feel whether this is the right step for you or not, how the company is progressing, how it's not progressing. When you get an opportunity to showcase a brand that you've built from scratch on national TV, I think it's something that really motivates you. That was also one of the driving factors for us a night before the pitch, because you feel nostalgic, you feel emotional, you feel happy that you could take a brand here, and you just be thankful for the opportunity that has been given.
It has been such a wonderful part to be a part of this e-talk along with our guest speaker, Mr. Kaushal Modi. But due to shortage of time, we would like to end it here. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this talk show. It has enlightened us and all the viewers out there. We would like to have you in more sessions like this organized by IIC TMSL Salt Lake. And that's all.
I'd like to thank everybody in the ESL from Technomain Salt Lake City for having conducted this session and inviting me. I think the initiatives that you all take are extremely good for the entire startup ecosystem and business ecosystem. And if there is any help that I could do on my part, I would be very eager to do it, because Calcutta has helped me as a city to launch my operations, and I would definitely want to help others also. So really grateful and really excited to be here. Thank you.